Hey, Ate, Washita Ish, Islam, Rahubat, Hotel, peace, greetings, assalamu alaikum, all that good stuff to all my good brothers and sisters out there. Um, I am Pahana. Yes, I am the one that Hopi prophecy speaks of. I am more. I am Washita at that. Um, I'm not here to really discuss nationality, although I understand um, true meaning of what words mean. Now, for this topic, for instance, I'm just going to touch on black and white. Of course, there are deeper definitions and understanding to why they want to label people white, black, or put you in a box and label you African American. you know, spanning two continents, that you belong to two continents. Anyways, just to touch on this real quick, no, you belong to this whole planet. This whole planet is yours. Every land, every piece of land, every water, everything that grows, every body of water, anything that's on this planet is you, because you are the true indigenous people of this planet. Okay, um, Caucasoid, any other paler race than the darkest melanated brother you ever want to see, we are watered down aspects of the original creation. Should that be an insult? Nah, not the least. Because growing up in the way in the area in the around the environment that I grew up in, I had a chance to run with a lot of brothers out there that are truly blessed, and they don't even realize it to the point of what I'm going to get at. Because when it comes to nationality and birthright, in the Constitution they say you were 3/5 of a man, they were not referring to you, brother. They were referring to the European. They had to establish this um, legislation. Well, had to establish this document to protect the indigenous people of this land. Well, what they did was they exchanged positions with you. Um, there are so many brainwashing processes that the melanated people of this planet have been put through that I can't begin to touch on each one to find out which is more significant that gave you the disillusion of your knowledge of self. I ain't gonna say you don't know thyself, because who you think you are, you really not. Especially when it comes to this westernized democratic society. Look up the word democracy. DE means simply to divide. Democracy, look at the cracy, the rule. When you're dealing with plutocracy, aristocracy, bureaucracy, all this crazy is crap. It's given right to rule to a being that's not original to this planet, but there is a karmic reason why that is going on now as we speak. But let's get down to nitty gritty. Why do people hate somebody because of color of skin? See, what's deeply embedded in a lot of people's genetics is the story, not his story, but the true story of what you and your brothers and sisters have existed on this planet as beings that have been downtrodden, beings that have been spiritual beings at that. Because before they came along, before the disease came along, wasn't no incarnating in flesh. You were spiritual beings. And it's hard to get into that aspect, because what we know as spirit now is not what the ancients know as spirit. Our whole mindset has been rearranged and taken from true knowledge to a backwards form of knowledge. Because understand that the Europeans were put in power by the Moors that were here on this land way more than what the red man is. The story they tell you. But regardless, that should anger most of you brothers and sisters out there, because you know of all the horrific stories that they attribute to the red man. Actually, in history, it was your story that they put on somebody else. I remember this one brother, before I moved in to see me back home. I stayed on the east side, which is in the hood too. And this one Muslim brother talked to me and told me, he said, the best way to understand what is going on in this system is that, and I'm a youth. I'm like 8 years old. I think he basically just, not to get into deep, because I can't remember the exact words, but he told me, like, yeah, everything that the white man tells you, do opposite. Do something different. Now imagine, I'm like 8, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, and this Muslim brother thought well enough to come and talk to me to tell me this stuff. See, I've been trained and taught by masters all through my life. Even though I did not realize it, I did not know it. Just simple dialogue, simple conversation with people can enlighten you. If you put best, because see, all through my life, I grew up in the pride. I grew up around brothers and sisters that were way darker than I was. Most people can't even go to a room that's filled with half of the room filled with black people. Now, for all you conscious brothers and sisters, I do know that black is an adjective. It's not a description of your race. You are Moors. You are indigenous to this planet. Please get that through your head. Black is a way of describing them because they lack melanin. So their physical frame was melanous. It was blank. Which you look into Latin and all boils down, that's where they got black from. So what they did when the Constitution, they flipped the script. They made you think you were black and they were white. A big mind fuck, ain't it? Excuse my language, but I got to get my point across. And those of you don't like my cursing, I apologize. But this whole English language is a curse. It is a way of keeping you entrapped. Because the words that you think you know, you really don't know. Trust me, you don't. I've been studying a lot of works, a lot of papers, books. I've done a lot of reading. I've been new to this YouTube stuff for maybe a year, so me getting to understanding about what the society goes on to these YouTube people that don't learn nothing else but what's on YouTube, never pick up a book and read, won't try to think for themselves, choose to get someone else's interpretation to make you think. Now, I love listening to plenty of speakers and people that come to give me knowledge, but I also like to do my research. I also like to make sure that I'm paying attention to some credible information. Although we understand that when you go deeper and deeper in the information, what you think meant something in the past don't mean now. Like for right now, right as I was becoming conscious, I started reading and understanding that this didn't mean, a situation didn't mean what I thought it meant until I went through the situation. Then I got the understanding and the understanding what it truly meant. So knowledge is like a gradual. It's like you can't, when people are sleeping. Perfect example. You can't go out there and shake them and wake them up. You're gonna get a startle, maybe a violent response. You have to gradually try to wake people out of this sleep, out of this slumber that people are in, caught up in this thing called racism. Now this dude that I'm replying to, I respect anybody who can sit up there and be articulate and get what to say, but there's some things in some of his videos that he touched on that he's not coming from the proper perspective and not with the proper information to really adequately get a whole view. What I'm getting at is this: melanated, the black people of this planet, especially here in America, have been demoralized more than any race in this world. So before you ever think that you a pale-skinned person on this planet have a right to call a black person racist, you are totally misled, confused, ignorant, dumbed down, and you do not want to wake up and see the truth. Because guess what? Robert De Niro said, just can't handle the truth. I think that's Robert De Niro. Anyways, you can't handle the truth. That's what's wrong with the majority of society. There are deceptive ways of brainwashing from white people all the way on down to black people. Everybody is in a form of deception, being deceived. Things ain't always what they seem. But not to dog this one brother out, I'm going to continue what I got to say on my next video, part 2. No one wins the race of racism. Peace. Coming back at you on part